It's awesome to be here in my hometown of Rio Rancho, the best place to live in New Mexico. In my district as a county commissioner, I just live a few blocks up the road here. And the reason why I'm running for governor is a couple of reasons. Number one, as a county commissioner, when I won my race and turned Sandoval County red, myself and our great chairman, Dave Heil, did a lot of good things for Rio Rancho and Sandoval County. We made this the fastest growing county in the state. Rio Rancho, the best place to live in the state. Corrales, the safest place to live in the state. We reduced unemployment by 1/3. And we stood up for the Constitution when we passed a Second Amendment sanctuary county here in Sandoval County. I was also at the forefront of the right to work movement here. Chairman Heil and I pushed this around the state, and we had 10 counties, including Democrat counties, push for right to work because it was the right thing to do when this state has the worst unemployment record. It's number one in poverty for children and hunger. It's number one in crime, last in education. Sandoval County is a model what I want to do as governor for the state of New Mexico. When it comes to your constitutional rights, I firmly believe all workers are essential. On the county commission, we fought the governor by passing a resolution asking the governor to treat small businesses the same as big businesses. And of course, she didn't listen because she was too busy drinking and eating her big beef or whatever you call it. It's time that we have a governor that actually understands leadership. I understand leadership. I am the only candidate in this race that was a leader in the military, a leader in private industry, a leader in elected office, and somebody who's never lost a race in the state of New Mexico. I also, by the way, represent a blue district as a conservative Republican, and I've worked with Democrats across the island. Democrats have agreed with us on the Second Amendment, on right to work, on getting small businesses back. Take Sandoval County as a model with great infrastructure, great schools, great businesses. We have Intel here, which we were able to turn Intel around. Between 2013 and 2016, before Dave and I were on the commission, they shed 2,000 jobs. Dave and I went back, renegotiated the IRB, and they've hired roughly 400 new people at Intel, and we helped Intel keep this community vibrant. I am very proud to sit here and fight for you. I fought for our country as the only combat veteran here who volunteered to go to Afghanistan. I fought for women's rights over there. I fought for little girls to go to school. I fought for your rights as a Second Amendment. I will fight for your First Amendment rights so you'll never be silenced. You'll never be canceled. And by the way, you'll have a governor who will actually listen to you and respect you and will not shame you. We have some very good candidates up and down the ballot. It is time we turn New Mexico around. This is our time. This is our opportunity. Take a look at all the candidates. Please run for school board, an incredibly important position. And when I'm your governor, I'll do 3 things right away. I will ban critical race theory in the state of New Mexico. I will return the money to all businesses, churches, and people that were fined under this governor. I will immediately deploy the National Guard down to the southern border to protect New Mexicans. I will also push for no more taxing of our Social Security or our veterans' pensions. I will push for law enforcement officers to retire back to 20 years instead of 25 years because our law enforcement officers have a tough job and they need to be respected, and I love our law enforcement. I want to welcome you all to the great city of Rio Rancho, the city of vision. It's a vision I have for the state of New Mexico. It's a vision of prosperity. New Mexico is an island of poverty in the southwest around our neighbors who have less regulation, higher wages, lower poverty. They have higher employment rates than we do. Why can't we do that? Why is New Mexico always being passed up? It's time to end this regime of tyranny and to bring the government back to you, the people, the great people of New Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, it is a great day in New Mexico. Look at all the patriots who turned out on a Saturday afternoon when the sun is shining to talk about freedom and giving the power back to the people of New Mexico. So thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm Rebecca Dow. I grew up in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, and went to Oral Roberts University where I got a degree, met my husband, had children, and I was coming back to visit my parents who are pastors down there, and they asked me to help in the nursery. If you're a preacher's kid, you know you get voluntold, you do what you're told, so I helped in the nursery. And the very first mom I met had a 9-month-old with coffee in her bottle, and that coffee was all that child drank. A couple of children later, mom came in and the child was having a hard time transitioning, and instead of encouraging her, she began, they had a little spat, and it was not a comfortable transition to watch or for that child. And several other things like that happened, and ultimately on the way home, one of the children I used to pick up and take to Vacation Bible School, who is now grown, had been shot and killed in a drug incident in the nearby park. So my husband and I left our corporate jobs. We moved back to Truth or Consequences. That was in 1999, and we went to work building unduplicated programs in our community, serving families, helping women, vulnerable populations become self-sufficient. And that has included career and pathways, helping them get degrees and certifications where they can get jobs, child care, after-school programming throughout the county, a private Christian school, GED and credit recovery for dropouts and adult learners, home visiting, a behavioral health clinic, transitional housing for those folks who want to leave addiction and become self-sufficient and thrive and be healthy families. And so when my predecessor left her seat, I had been here for 18 years, and during that time, I would go to Santa Fe and advocate for common sense governance. It took 2 years to open up a child care center, 4 years to open up a behavioral health clinic because of the over-regulations in New Mexico. And I thought, if I run through the House of Representatives, I get a vote, not just 3 minutes in public comment, if they give you 3 minutes. Sometimes they give you one, and sometimes they give you none. And so I ran. It's a 34% Republican district. It's a majority-minority district, and I won. This time, this is my third term, I won by 56 points, with a Libertarian having 4 points. The demographics of my district are the demographics of the state. I am winning, and I'm taking people with me. My treasurer became a candidate, Senator Crystal Diamond. She took the Democrat seat. It's been Democrat for decades. My friend Luis Terrazas ran. He flipped the House seat that I share some of my counties with, and that had been a Democrat seat. So we know how to win, and it's not by talking bad about Democrats, because they're the ones who elect us. It's by finding our common values. It's our family. It's our faith. It's the jobs. It's our education system. And talking about the things that we share together, one family, one door, one community at a time, and we're winning. So why am I different? I am the candidate who has spent I'm on my third term. I'm the Republican House Caucus Chair. I'm living it, what these progressives are passing. I know what are executive orders, which are the rules and regs, who we need to get out of our boards and commissions, and how we need to turn our state around. In addition to that, I cannot wait to talk to MLG. If she wants to talk about her radical abortion agenda, then I will debate her and talk about how when I was 19 and found out I was pregnant, I chose life. And that I've dedicated my life to serving women. If she wants to talk about border security, I'll talk about my friends the Johnsons, who live right there on the border where that 3/4 of a mile is missing, and what it has done to their family and to their economy, and why we need to deploy the National Guard and to have border security. Not only that, it is a humanitarian crisis. The sex trafficking, the human trafficking do not talk to me about how she saved people's lives. Every day, lives are ruined. And that comes to what I'm most passionate about, is our education reform. Parents across this state, their children have been disenfranchised. They have had no voice. And as someone who started private schools, homeschool co-ops, dual enrollment, after-school programs throughout my district, I am ready to talk about what it's going to take to change education in New Mexico. And I believe that's going to resonate with the families in Bernalillo. Welfare reform, or child welfare reform. I've opened programs at emergency placement for CYFD. Our children are dying, their innocence is being stolen, and the people who are harming them still have custody of the children they harm. We have got to change. The radicals want universal everything, but what we need to do is focus our attention on those families and those children who need it the most. And deregulation is one way to do that. Reform with our children's code is another way to do that. So I want the opportunity to go head to head with Michelle, because her failed policies can be fixed, and New Mexico can and will thrive. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Ethel Maharg, and I'm running for
tell you about that in a minute. Hello? I didn't read you. I have trouble with that. Is that good? Okay? Really close. Okay. Let's start over. Good afternoon. I am Ethel Maharg, and I am running for governor. I'll get to that in a minute, but for right now, I want to thank you, Lawrence, and the rest of the team for putting all this together. Why is the Constitution important? First and foremost, it's because it includes our God-given rights of every human being. They are not given to us by the government, which means the government does not reserve the right to revoke them. The United States Constitution is what gave our government that puts the power in the hands of the people. You know, the founders really got it right, because it is the oldest written constitution in the world and the most influential. So much so that people all over the world are waving their flags in their streets, because it is a beacon of hope and freedom to them. They really got it right. Clearly, with the first three words of the preamble, we, the people, the nation's founders, wanted the world to know the United States is governed by the people. For the people is why on August 14th, at New Beginnings Church of God, I will be making my formal announcement for governor. I am running for governor to breathe life into New Mexico. Many of you know me as the pro-life lady, and because I am pro-life without exception, from conception to natural death, and I wear it like a badge of honor. It is who I am. It is what I believe, and I will work to the end the war of the unborn, the frail, the elderly, and our children. I am also a wife, mother, grandmother, and former mayor of the village of Cuba. I am pro-God, pro-family, pro-business, pro-guns, and a proud New Mexican. I was born and raised in Cuba, New Mexico. My mother's side of the family has been in New Mexico since Coronado's conquest. Service has always been a real part of our family on both sides of the political aisle, from my Republican grandfather to my Democrat father, who served as mayor of the village of Cuba, to my Democrat brothers, one a county commissioner and the other a judge. Trust me, we aren't the only political family that has two political parties in it. Remember, Roosevelt County was named for Teddy, not Franklin. I followed my father's footsteps and served as mayor of Cuba, but I stayed in my grandfather's party and was elected Republican. Back when I was running for mayor, I was asked what I promised this gentleman I would do. Now that I'm running for governor, I'll probably get the same question. Well, I guarantee you that I will always honor and follow the Constitution. What I will promise is that I will defend your constitutional rights and never lock you out of your place of worship, your business, or your doctor's offices, while keeping abortion clinics open, calling them essential services. I will never challenge your right to bear arms, and I will never lock you out telling you I'm saving your life. I will never defund the police, and I will never use fear and intimidation to make you take vaccines. No judgment. I often listen to politicians complain about New Mexico, that it's at the top of all of the very bad lists. But you know what? We still remain at the top of those lists. It's time to stop complaining. It's time for something different. It is time for bold leadership. Leadership that understands the challenges of everyday New Mexicans. Leadership that will fight every single day for New Mexicans. Leadership that will breathe life into New Mexico. To breathe life into New Mexico, we must capitalize on our strengths. No one wants to bring business into a state where everyone, including politicians and elected officials,
complain of being at the top of these lists. Let's play to our strengths, which we have an abundance of, the best of which is our people. Our strengths include our farmers and ranchers who help us feed the nation. Our strengths include the oil and gas industry that help fund our education system. Growing up on a farm in Cuba where my father grew alfalfa and raised cattle, I know the importance of farmers and ranchers because you see my dad had to sell a lot of cows to put his 7 kids through college. Working in the oil and gas industry is how I earned my first car. I helped build a gas plant. Our fathers and ranchers in our oil and gas industry are an important portion of our financial well-being and our state and its people. It is a partnership and I will bridge that gap. As a former business owner, I believe tax credits should be given to those that are creating the greatest wealth and not to Hollywood elites that want to come here and make us a socialist state. I am pro-God. What that means is just like when I was in the village of Cuba as the mayor. I'm willing to make the right decisions, not the popular ones, and certainly not the politically correct ones. Parishioners should never have been locked out of their places of worship. I will always protect your constitutional right, the freedom of religion. Speaking of constitutional rights, growing up on the farm in Cuba, I got firsthand, I understand that firearms are tools to fend off predators. We need our firearms. I understand the importance of our Second Amendment, and I will end the assault on our Second Amendment. I am running for governor to breathe life into New Mexico. I will do it with bold leadership that defends our constitutional rights, and bold leadership that breathes life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, in that order, into New Mexico. I would be honored if you would join me. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody who was in attendance today. I know it's hot, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. A little bit closer. Closer to your mouth. Thank you. I'm real close. I've got a few notes. I don't have a canned speech, so please bear with. Special thanks to Chairman Morris Griego of Sandoval County for putting on this event. My name is Tim Walsh. I'm the founder of Trident Tuition Funds, a non-profit charitable organization that has partnered with the National Navy SEAL Museum. Our scholarship program provides tuition awards for naval special warfare pilots, so they may select private preschool K through 12 and higher education. It's a privately funded school choice initiative. It awarded $350,000 in awards this July for next school year. I'm running for governor because all New Mexicans deserve liberty and a nonpartisan leader. Why is our U.S. Constitution important? I believe it is a basic framework that has enabled this great United States of America to become the greatest nation on earth. Liberty for all. Yes, liberty for all is my campaign call to action. Liberty is found in the 5th and 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution. By definition, liberty means freedom for the younger ones in the crowd. Freedom from arbitrary and unreasonable restraint upon an individual or a group of individuals. I had to paraphrase that one. Freedom from the overreach of governmental authority. I knew you'd get that. overreached by our current governor. Why is Tim Walsh the best GOP choice? Easy. It's a two-part answer. I'm the most experienced, and I'm the most electable. I served New Mexico during Governor Gary Johnson's second term. I was his education policy advisor. Some of you may have remembered the original Zuni lawsuit against the state. It had the potential liability dollar figure of $1.5 billion. My efforts brought the superintendents of Zuni and Gallup school districts together with the governor and the legislature to find a legislative solution outside the courtroom. The result, we have the capital school, public capital school, I messed it up. My apologies. The Public School Capital Outlay Act, an equitable process to distribute capital outlay dollars to all school districts. It continues today. So instead of throwing money at a problem, which seems to be the other side's solution to anything, we help save the state $1.5 billion. As your governor, I'll learn how to use a microphone. I want to fix the wasteful spending in K-12 state appropriations. Next year, it's a $3.3 billion bill. I'm going to push for a universal school choice voucher act for kindergarten through 12th grade. A bill that has positive effect for all families in New Mexico, while it's going to leave money behind in the public schools. It's not going to drain money away from public schools. They'll have less operational costs and cash on hand. As your governor, I will focus on New Mexico state debt and debt service. Now that's exciting. I say no more to unnecessary examples. Rail runner commuter train system. It can't turn a profit. Gone. Spaceport America. 17 years and hundreds of millions of dollars for elitists to fly 50 miles above Earth. I say let Sir Branson buy it. Third, film incentive program. I'm glad someone else touched on that one. Before the cap was removed, we were losing $148 million on average, paying rebates to film production companies. I say let Hollywood pay its own way. Here's another sexy one. 2 state pension funds, ERB and PERA, are over $12 billion in a black hole. Both were unsustainable 10 years ago. It is red down there. The legislature nibbled at the edges twice to try and fix it. No more kicking that can down the road. Most states and municipalities tackled the same problem with their pension plans more than a decade ago. It's our turn and we will fix it. Lastly, I'm the most electable come November 2022 because my message will attract free-thinking libertarians, independents, and moderate Democrats. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Lawrence and Sandoval County, for letting me talk today. Yes, my name is Louis Sanchez. My real name is Louis Joseph Macy Sanchez, but it doesn't fit in the 16 letters that they give you anyway. So who am I? I'm a first-generation college graduate from in my family, but I'm the first-generation Republican in my family. But that all started with my father, who was a lifelong Democrat, who brought me in. I was getting ready to graduate from high school, brought me into our living room, and he wanted me to watch a speech from Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan was speaking to little Hispanic Chicano children in California. And I remember it hit me so hard because, as he said, it wasn't where you started this race, it's where you finish it. And that this was the land of opportunity. I didn't know what opportunity was. I didn't know what privilege was. And the reason being is, my family, as so many typical Hispanics, we didn't have money. We grew up in a small little trailer in the South Valley. Welfare and drugs just ravaged my family. That is part of my history, is that I have seen generational welfare. I've seen generational entitlements, and it's hard to get off once you start down that road. So I decided that I was going to break the trend of 42 cousins and put myself through college. So today you're like, man, Luis Sanchez, where do I remember that name? Yes. It's interesting because politicians stand up on a stump and say what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and how they're going to stand up. Well, the reason you remember my name is because last March, when the governor said she was going to close down businesses who aren't essential, that she was going to tell people in small businesses that their job didn't matter. Yes, I'm the owner of Calibers who told her to go pound sand, and I wasn't going to close my shop. And the reason being is because my employees are essential. Their paychecks are essential to their families, and their families matter to me. And yes, I did get the fines, and I haven't paid them. So, good for you. So, if elected governor, there will be no fines collected by this state for just trying to do your job. See, the problem is that, our governor doesn't know what it's like to risk everything to start a business. She doesn't know what it's like to go in there and look at your employee and saying, hey, guess what? Yeah, you don't count. But she does, right? So I'm not supposed to pay my employees, but she gives her administration raises. I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything that's the matter with this state, because we all know the list. It comes out every year. But what I can tell you is that if I'm elected governor, I will fight for your rights for Second Amendment. Go figure. I'm just not doing that now, or as a campaign pledge. We've been doing that for the last 6 years when these red flag laws were trying to go through. Now that it's a national monologue from the progressives, not Democrats, but progressives, that they want to confiscate your guns. Not in New Mexico. We're the original Wild West. It's easy for us to stand up here as politicians and saying, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Well, like so many of the others, I have started a business. I run a successful business. And we will continue to sell firearms. We will continue to support your Second Amendment that is guarded by the Constitution of the United States. If elected governor, I will not defund the police, but refund the police. We will never, ever bring corporate jobs here, good paying jobs, when our crime is out of control. And so what do? They do bail reform. So guess what? We have criminals getting out the same day. And it doesn't matter, right? Because then we're called racist if that happens. Well, good luck calling me a racist, or good luck calling me a person of privilege, because then I'm going to have to apologize to my mom, my dad, my sons, and my family. So every candidate's going to stand up here and say, I'm the most elected. Ladies and gentlemen, our magic number as conservatives and Republicans is 38. 38% was the number of crossovers votes that Susana Martinez got from Hispanic, moderate conservative voters. Whoever our candidate is will have to go out and get those votes. We're going to have to go to places we never go. South Valley of Albuquerque, West Mesa of Albuquerque, South Central. When I went down to a meeting, at a community organizer meeting, even before I thought running for governor, they were having air quality issues down in San Juan. We call it Broadway and Stadium. Run by Democrats for the last 90 years. Nobody would talk to them. Mayor Keller pushed them aside, except for, of course, when he ran for mayor, he said he's going to fix it. So, sure enough, the community organizer asked me if I could help. So I got on the phone and I got a hold of Yvette Harold's campaign manager, or her chief of staff now, and Yvette Harold, a Republican congresswoman, calls Mayor Keller, and now it's on the docket to take care of their air quality control issues. And it's not even her district. The only one who cared was a Republican and a conservative. We can win this. We can win this, and we can fight crime. We can take care of our horrible education system. Per capita, we spend more than almost any other state on education with the worst results. I refuse to believe that we can only graduate with 69% of our high school graduates. You know, in business, if she worked for me, she'd been fired 3 years ago. She'd been fired 12 years ago. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over. So we need to come together. As the Constitution said, we the people. It's not her, it's not just Lujan's, and it's just not our state legislature, because we can vote them out. We the people can take back this state if we come together in unity and provide such a strong force that our voices are heard. You know, I'll end on this. Everybody's talking about critical race theory. But right now, critical race theory, when I'm governor, I refuse to allow any of our school boards to teach any child of color that they are a victim, or that somehow there's some magic person out there keeping them down. Guess what? Just because you fail at something doesn't mean it's racist. It just means maybe you need to try harder. My parents taught me that if you fail and if you fall, you learn to pick yourself back up and try a little harder. You know, I'd love to have played Major League Baseball, but I was 5'9" with a weak arm. It wasn't going to happen. Doesn't mean it's racist, it just means I wasn't good enough. But it didn't mean that I quit trying. I will go to every single place that Republicans have never gone and get these votes. We can come together as a state, and it starts here. I'm Luis Sanchez, and I'm seriously considering running for governor.
Oh, the advantage of a last name that begins with Z. I stand between you and hot dogs. And Audrey just sat on the joke. Whatever you do, make it short. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you are small business owners? Yes. Okay. I see you. Has a politician ever put capital up to help grow a business? No. Hey, has a politician ever helped pay your taxes? No. Has a politician ever helped hire people or fire people? No. In my small business, it never happened either. So when a politician stands up and says, I lowered unemployment, I think you did. I don't think you did. I think you did. And when a politician takes credit for another man or another woman's work, I take offense. I think it's taking something from us that isn't theirs. And what does this have to do with the Constitution? Actually, everything. The Constitution is an anti-theft document. The Constitution's founders understood this. Government, by its very nature, must take before it gives. And no one will agree to have something taken from them unless it's by coercion. Is that not true? Our Constitution was set up to prevent coercion. What do politicians and what does the government first seek to take? Your voice. Thus, freedom of speech and freedom of the press. That won't be enough for them then. What do they seek to take second? They want control to take your life. Thus the Second Amendment. And do not underestimate the power of gunpowder. Next, this one's much deeper. It won't be enough for them just to silence you. They want praise. They want adulation. And whether it is Pharaoh, or whether it is a czar, or a Caesar, or a king, even that won't be enough. They will want worship. And that is why we have the freedom of religion. Because if you are connected up, you will not fall for it. But what are they demanding of us now? They want adulation, they want praise, and they want worship to government. Do they not? There are only two crimes. Wait, no, there's one more. And this one is very obscure because the founders understood that in order for them to do all of that, they had to control one thing. And I want you to go to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5 of the Constitution. And it has to do with money and who has the power of printing money. And it is supposed to reside with the Treasury. And did you know that there are only two federal crimes in the Constitution? One is treason. The second one is counterfeiting money. Why? Because every military man in the world, and we'll get to that in just a minute, understands that amateurs study tactics, professionals study logistics. And the logistics of politics is money. And whoever controls the money can do all those bad things we just talked about. So let's talk about those two issues with respect to me. Treason. What's the opposite of treason? It's loyalty. What government wants is they want your loyalty to government. What I believe is that government should be loyal to the people. We have a completely reversed. National Guard. During the week I managed money. During the weekends I put on my uniform. That's how I made change. When I got deployed, I had to sell my business. Couldn't take care of clients from Vietnam. I raised my right hand voluntarily. The guy who bought my business said, Greg, you're going to come back in a few years and you're going to take all your clients back on a 5-year non-compete clause. I get that. I came back here in 2009. I thought about running for governor, but it was Susanna's time. And I got a call from a high school friend, Valley High, who had become Bill Gates' money manager. The guy. And he said, hey, Z-Man, I know you're thinking about politics, but we want you to come up here and we want you to run money for Bill. Right. We moved up there. This was in 2009. Did anybody know the stuff about Bill Gates that we know now back then? No. He was a philanthropist. He was giving money away. By the way, there are two sides. There's the foundation side, which we're all hearing about with vaccines and so on and so forth. I'm a supporter of none of that. And I was not over on that side. I was on the money side. And here's the great blessing. You start to see how God moves in your life. What I thought I knew about money was totally blown away, seeing billions move and how the money moves. It is not what you think. We have $45 billion in sovereign wealth in this state, and we're getting ripped off. If you believe you should have a governor who understands money at the highest levels and will not get taken to the cleaners by the Wall Street Sharpies, I would respectfully ask that you join the Zanetti for Governor campaign. Thank you. Let's just, we can get with education. We're all on the same page on education. In fact, all of us will be the same on all the issues. Borders. Let's see. I served on the Czech border. I'm very familiar with the demilitarized zone in Korea. He's standing behind me as his hot dogs are in there. I can feel his presence. Again, we share the border with Cuba. We met with them. You don't understand both sides of the border issue. You don't understand borders. And I worked in the New Mexico border back when President Bush called us up. If you believe we should have a governor who really understands borders, join the Zanetti for Governor campaign. And let's close with this. We all talk about the Constitution. We can all talk the what. I just explained to you the how and the why. If you believe we should have a governor who understands the deeper parts of the Constitution, join the Zanetti for Governor campaign. God bless you all. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.